The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Phixated Podcast. I am your host, Mike Azzy, and I'm joined tonight by my buddy Regz. Regz, I'm too emotional to continue this intro, so I'm just going to give it to you.
Okay, so I know that will lead to many questions in all your minds, anybody listening or watching. So as he sends me a message, first of all, earlier in the day, like, hey, we're probably going to have to do the podcast a little later. There's a choir concert for the school at night. You know, I'm going to be there, so, you know, it might have to be on the later side. No worries, you know, whenever time. I then get a text message, hours later, that says the entire choir just sang to me a version of Dancing on My Own, dedicated to me. And then a minute later, I get a video, which my wife and youngest son watched with me. And then I texted Azzy, how many seconds did it take for you to start crying?
The answer was milliseconds, actually.
The answer was very quickly.
Yeah.
It was adorable.
So we have a 4th and 5th grade chorus. Every 4th and 5th grader participates in chorus. And we have an assembly so the student body can watch. And it's like a practice for them because, like, at night they perform for their families. Mm-hmm. So the assembly was in the afternoon. The music teacher had asked me if we can move it to the afternoon. And I was like, yeah, sure. Doesn't matter. Like, whatever. Fine with it. As long as teachers are cool with it, I'm cool with it. So we moved it to the afternoon and they sing 6 songs. Like, that's the thing. So I thought I had counted 6 songs and I started to walk up to the front because I stand in the back during this and watch. Started to walk to the front to start dismissing classes. And she said, oh, we have one more song. And every kid, not just the kids in 4th and 5th grade, but all the kids start getting like really excited. So I walk back to my spot. And little context, one of our teachers, our 5th grade teacher, was a finalist for Teacher of the Year in Pennsylvania. So we had a little celebration at the building for her, and she's a lot like me. She doesn't love attention and like stuff like that. Yeah. So when we did like a parade for her, I walked her down the steps and I was like, hey, you're going to hate me for like the next 10 minutes. Okay. But then you'll love me afterward. And today when the music started, she leans into me because I was standing like 2 people away from her. And she comes around like the side of me and she goes, hey, to quote you, you're going to hate us for the next like 20 minutes.
Oh, 20.
You're just going to have to deal with it. And you'll love us later. And then my counselor grabs my hand and puts 3 tissues in my hand. And the whole student body, all 500 kids, proceed to sing this version of Dancing on My Own, with all of the things I say to them every single day. And I just lost it. Like, kids are crying. I'm crying. Teachers are crying. It's just a sob fest. And then I'm like, how am I supposed to dismiss them? And they're like, well, don't worry. You're not dismissing them yet. Here's a quilt that we made you with all of our 2nd graders' handprints and a pillow that says all of your phrases. And, oh, here's a framed picture of a shark that we made out of all 550 kids' fingerprints. Regz, I'm a bag of like just tears today. Like I'm just a ball of emotion. And I actually said to my PE teacher, I just texted him before we started and I was like, you guys better be done. I've got nothing left.
Right.
Like, I have nothing left.
This was it.
I am tapped out.
Yeah.
I've got no emotion left. I feel nothing. I am numb to all of it. So anything you do, I'm just going to look at you.
Yeah.
It needs to be over. It needs to be over.
There's not many. I mean, teachers shine all the time, of course, but when it comes to this stuff, teachers just outdo anyone else who could try and come up with this stuff. Like, you could hire a marketing agency and they wouldn't be able to come up with the stuff that teachers will come up with for this kind of stuff.
Absolutely. And I was talking to a colleague of mine and another principal at another building, and he was like, he's like, your staff has handled this so well, because they could have easily shut down on me and said whatever. We're just gonna let him go off into the sunset and be done with him. But I mean, they have just been incredible. I mean, I think I sent you the picture. They have earrings with my face on them.
Yeah.
They have pins with my face on them. And like I said, I'm not like this. I don't love this stuff. I'm letting them do that because I know it's like a way to like celebrate, and I understand that.
Yeah.
So I'm letting it kind of happen just because I know it feels good for them. And it does feel good for me. Like I said to Andrea tonight, it's I think above all else, it allows me to know that I made some sort of impact in a short time. Like my legacy is there. So
yeah, which everyone has told you, but you
right. I won't listen to it.
Yeah, you won't listen to it.
I know.
I'm glad it's sunk in though.
It's definitely did you watch The Office, Regz?
Yeah.
Yeah. The episode where they all sing to Michael Scott?
Yes.
Yeah. And they do like the camera shot on him.
Yep.
And he's like, yeah, this is gonna effing suck.
Yep.
That's basically that was me today.
Yeah.
Like I walked into my poor secretaries, like they were in to watch it, and I walked by both of them. I said, I'm just gonna close my door for a few minutes. Like didn't even say my goodbyes to the kids at the end of the day. Like I had just tapped out. So,
they hit you hard. They hit you hard this afternoon.
Right in the feels, man. That's what I said to him. I was like, man, you guys know how to keep a secret, and you know how to hit me in the feels. And they were so proud of themselves that they kept this secret for like months.
I'm sure they should be. It's very impressive.
Very, very impressive. Very impressive stuff. But hey, thanks for indulging in that, buddy.
Oh, always.
It wasn't impressive?
The 76ers.
Oh my gosh, man. What a bad loss tonight, huh?
It was bad.
Did you get to watch any of it? Because I had the concert, so I didn't get to watch it.
No, I did not, but I've been following what's his name? I'm gonna find it because I don't want to not say his name. Adam Aronson.
Oh yeah.
On Twitter.
Yeah.
He literally does like a play-by-play. So I just sit on Twitter and watch what he says. Yeah, apparently it was just really sloppy. Like really, Joel had 3 fouls quickly, and Doc took him out for practically the rest of the half.
Ugh.
For whatever reason. And even
I saw they only had like 17 minutes with 5 minutes left in the third.
Yeah, it was said on Twitter like this is such an old school coaching dumb decision that isn't viable anymore. And then even another person on Twitter, it might have even been Aronson, who was like, these substitutions are archaic and horrible.
Okay.
He was putting out like
it's starting to become
Maxey.
his calling card.
He was putting out Maxey, who wasn't playing well with like 4 reserves. Like usually you do that when Maxey's on fire. You just let him have the ball and do whatever he wants. But he was essentially doing that, but Maxey wasn't playing well.
Yeah. Okay.
And then apparently in the third quarter, they got off to a pretty hot start and it was close. And then I think OKC went on a 36-14 run for the rest of the quarter.
Oh, wow.
Just like turnovers, no defensive stops. Yeah, not a great effort.
At home, we talked about this
trip.
With SGA. Like he's like the type of player that kills him because of his athleticism
and his speed. Like they just don't have any defender.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Matisse, but I guess, I think he's been better offensively, but it's been limited this year. That's why. Like,
and especially with Doc. Doc won't leave a like defensive specialist out there for longer than 8 minutes at a time.
Yeah. I also again, like they're 4 games out of first place. They're in 4th place. Like I feel like we're broken records when we talk about them. Like it really comes down to what this team's going to look like through the month of like April.
Yeah. I just think like you still have to beat the bad teams.
Yeah. And like, they have been.
Like, they have been. You're right.
This feels like a, kind of one of those. Joel got in trouble. Doc made a choice, and I think they paid for that.
Yeah.
Not having Joel on the floor for almost the entirety of the first half.
Yeah, especially with OKC, who has nobody who can stop him.
Yeah, you're losing a ton of ton of offense, which makes me question like how he got in such foul trouble.
Yeah, that I'm not sure. I didn't go back and watch that yet.
Because you'd feel like there's no one that can, if no one can guard him, he should be able to guard who's on the other side of the floor.
I think it must have been on drives and slashes. You know, he's trying to get up for blocks and be that presence at the rim,
which he does. He does often.
Yeah, I'm just
It's what
guessing.
makes him one of the best defenders in the league.
Maybe his timing was off with a couple block attempts and just
Very possible.
caught too much body on a couple of them.
Very possible. Very, very possible. I think, again, we're not spending a lot of time here, guys. And if you listen to us for the Sixers, we're really sorry.
We can recommend other podcasts for you.
Yeah, I just think right now our focus is still so much on what's going on in Phillies land and a little bit and a lot of bit of what's going on in the Eagles. We'll hit the Sixers as the season sort of hits its
We're not even at the All-Star break yet.
Yeah, when it hits its climax, I mean, kind of like we do with the Phillies and the Birds. Like, the Phillies are on their own for most of the summer, so that's why we spend a ton of time there. And certainly this year, it's just been so exciting with the Eagles that it's been hard to take time away from them. So, obviously, like we talk about, the Sixers will do what we normally do, which is take a quick peek at what they have coming up.
I think it's a West Coast swing.
They are heading out there, yeah.
Which is a tough loss before a West Coast swing.
Yeah, and especially with teams that you're playing, like they have this week we'll start on Saturday. They're at Utah, and then they're at the Lakers, at the Clippers, at the Blazers, at the Kings before they return home. So that's Saturday to Saturday. It's a 5-game West Coast swing. Luckily, no back-to-backs. One back-to-back this weekend.
Yeah, I was about to say there's got to be something in there, right?
Yeah, one back-to-back, and then they go Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. I mean, 2 and 3, 3 and 2 seem feasible. 2 and 3 would be great.
If they can come back 3-2, like that'd be incredible.
To gain a game in the West,
I think it's easy. It's 2-3 easy.
I think 2-3. I think Lakers, Kings.
The Kings are tough.
Maybe Blazers.
The Blazers haven't been playing as well. I'd say they lose to Utah before they lose to Portland. Again, if Kawhi and Paul George both play in Los Angeles, there's a very good chance they lose that game against the Clippers.
Yeah.
Luckily, Davis is still hurt. They have a good chance to beat the Lakers.
Yeah.
That might be their 2 wins, honestly. Blazers and Lakers.
I think coming back around 500, like you're either 3 and 2 puts you at 11 games over, 2 and 3 puts you at 9 games over. If you're in that ballpark, you're going out there 10 games over. Yeah. You should be 11 games over. This was not a game they should have lost.
Don't come back 1 and 4.
No,
just don't do that.
Because then you're probably gonna lose at least 2 games in the standings.
Yes,
at the very least.
Right.
So I do believe that this is like their only lengthy West Coast swing, though. Like at least this is their longest. I want to say, which is nice. So they get it out of the way. I'll have to look at that a little more closely as we move along. So we'll see. We'll check back in on them on Thursday. They'll be starting their 4th game of that trip when we're recording.
Right. Yeah.
So we'll know how the first 3 go at that point, and we'll kind of touch on those next 2. We'll be updating during the show, I'm sure. But we're gonna jump over to the Phillies. You go with that?
Yes, please.
Yeah, let's jump over there. What do you want? Do you want to do the position stuff first? Or you want to talk about the trades?
Let's do the trades first.
Okay. All right. Which one you want to talk about first?
I mean, I guess we got to go Mr. Soto.
How about it? I mean, I guess let's start with the pieces they gave up. Okay. So obviously, the
daycare is broken up.
Yeah. I think, I wish as Philly fans, we wouldn't become so obsessed with role players.
It is something we are, because we're so used to not having superstars.
Yeah.
I think it's if we went back through the history of, I think, all Philly sports, you really do have to like hedge your time in between these great runs, because they don't happen that often.
No,
So like you really do have to hedge your time, finding a lot of different things to like about people.
Right.
And I think we've become very good at it. And we overinflate really mediocre players a lot. And I'll put my hand up. I'm not out of that list in my lifetime, But yeah, I think when I texted you when I saw the trade, I think my only question was about the bench depth. Like I get it that we're not losing some studs here or some guys like Maton maybe could play every day just because he's hit lefties so well. So if that continues, like he really could have a career somewhere playing somewhere all the time.
Sure.
Veerling just goes in awful slumps that he's just a utility. He's just a bench guy through and through.
Yeah.
So it wasn't so much like, oh my God, we're losing these guys. It's like, ooh, I wonder how this affects their bench depth. So again, but then you sent me the video of Soto's fastball and slider, and I got over it. Whatever feelings I had about Matt Veerling and Nick Maton, Godspeed, fellas. All the best, just like Mickey Moniak, we salute you. We hope you do great. Just not when you play against us.
Yeah, so I mean, I think starting kind of here, I believe that they are hoping for Cody Clemens to take a bench spot, the other guy that came over in the deal.
Yeah.
Again, I feel like this is one of those situations where you probably look at Kevin Long and say, can you do something with him? Because he was pretty highly regarded. I mean, he wasn't like it wasn't a Brandon Marsh type thing, but people thought he was going to be a player. And so they're going to let him compete for a bench job, for sure. Like you can bet that that's going to be the case for him. Don't forget they really like Dalton Guthrie.
Yeah.
So that could be the guy that you see if they don't find somebody else before the start of the season.
Yeah.
That could replace Matt Veerling because Guthrie can play the outfield.
Right.
So that's certainly a possibility.
What were your initial thoughts?
I think for me, Veerling and Maton, they had moments last year for sure. But Veerling became a black hole in the postseason when you face better teams, right? Like he just he couldn't hit.
Yep.
So that certainly hurt. It certainly hurt. And Maton didn't really see any time in the postseason. He also had big hits. Like that happens. But there were also other guys on this roster who got big hits.
Yep.
Guys that we don't think about or talk about because recency bias is what it is. Like Maton had big hits at the end of the season.
Yeah.
So we remember those, right? But early in the year, the dude that came over from Atlanta, I'm drawing a blank on his name. Camargo.
He was on fire.
At the beginning of the year. Yeah.
He was on fire.
And then he's gone.
Yeah.
Then he disappeared.
Yeah.
So, I just think in the length of a baseball season, guys get big hits, but I think Maton's the type of kid that could potentially get exposed if he plays every day too, the way Veerling did.
Yeah.
But they traded from positions of depth in the organization to get this deal done.
Yeah.
If Soto turns into the guy that Alvarado is, this is an absolute steal.
Yeah.
Because the Phillies still have Kim at second in the minors, and they still have Johan Rojas in center field in the minors, not to mention Crawford, who they just drafted. So, and Donnie Sands is another, catcher is a huge depth position for the organization.
Yeah.
So there's plenty there. Soto, to me, Regz, the slider is wipeout. The fastball, they probably have the hardest throwing bullpen in baseball.
They have the two hardest throwing lefties in all majors.
Correct. And I do believe that the Soto deal is because Alvarado is a free agent after this season.
Yeah, right.
And I think they believe they cannot bring him back.
Yeah.
So they're going to try and basically they're going to take 1 year of the two of them.
Yep.
And hope that's
the magic, right? Yep.
That's the magic. And then when Alvarado goes, you have Alvarado, maybe a better version of Alvarado.
Yeah, younger, right?
He'll turn 28 in February.
Okay.
and he's with the team through 2025.
Okay.
So you have 3 years of control left on him.
Yep.
It's a great deal.
Yeah.
It truly is. And if Cody Clemens becomes a usable utility guy, then it's double a great deal, because actually I think he has more control than Maton does. I'd have to look that up, but I believe he has more control than Maton at this point. So that's another way of looking at the deal. So I think it's a win for them. You know, their bullpen becomes incredibly challenging with the 4 guys they have holding down the back end.
Well, yeah, they absolutely needed more lefties.
Yeah.
And they've gone out and gotten that.
Yeah. And not just that, but now think about the 4 guys that you boast in the back end: Alvarado, Soto, Kimbrel, and Dominguez. And Brogdon, who looked awesome in the wild card series and the World Series.
Yeah.
There's just a lot there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot there. And there's still, like, McGarry's still floating down there. Like, there are other names that are still down in the minors. Like, this is a tremendous deal.
Yeah.
And then they went and traded a guy who Regz, I thought was going to make the roster this year, Eric Miller, for another reliever, Junior Marte, from the Giants, who also throws incredibly hard. And his stuff has real Sir Anthony upside. Like, there's real Sir Anthony in there. So he's going to be designated to AAA, I'm pretty sure, immediately. He's on the 40-man. So we'll probably see him at some point, just because you know what happens in Major League Baseball. Like, you know,
right.
But he's another guy that I think they're going to give a little bit of time in the system and try and fix him up.
Mm-hmm.
And then if he comes up and he can be a dude, I mean, he had some really nice innings for the Giants this year.
Yeah, I think we're just starting to see. And again, this is not like, if you've been following Twitter since this happened and all that stuff, this is not like something that I am coming up with, but you're seeing them do what really good development teams do. Yep. Just give me a guy who already has the talent.
Yep.
And again, maybe he's a little bit wild. Maybe he just has to dial it in a little bit.
That's exactly it.
There's a couple things maybe mechanically that they see on video that maybe just aren't quite right, but they have the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they're turning into the team that is like, yeah, we can fix that.
Yep.
We have everything in place to be able to get this guy in optimal position to do what he does best.
Stuff, upside is what they're looking at right now. I mean, they saw what happens when you have a bullpen of guys that come out throwing 98 right at you. Like, they witnessed it. And they also made a minor deal for another guy that I'm actually drawing a blank on. I'm not remembering the name. It kind of came out of nowhere. I don't know if he's on the 40-man. I'm just scrolling through it real quickly, and I don't see it. I'm gonna have to look it up later. Oh yeah, Eric Ullman.
Oh right.
Was another guy that they just recently picked up. I think they got him off waivers. I don't think they actually made a trade for him, if I'm thinking straight. But 25 games last season, 2-1 with a 4.67. Doesn't throw all the hours, like 94, tops 94, maybe 95.
Mm-hmm.
But sort of deceptive. Just his arm slot's a little deceptive. So again, another guy that they feel like maybe could be a Bilotti. And I said that on a prior show that I feel like they need to go try and find like another Bilotti, who also became really dependable for them. But they saw in the postseason what a bunch of flamethrowers can do to you. Imagine if Marte turns into something.
Yeah.
Like imagine if they're trotting out Marte, Dominguez, Soto, Alvarado, Brogdon, all throwing 97 high or higher in the postseason. After Wheeler, after Nola, after Walker, after Suarez.
I mean, look, it's the bullpens we faced who everyone said are the best bullpens in the league. It's San Diego, it's Houston, it's the Cardinals even had a similar bullpen. Like, those are all the bullpens that everyone said are the best.
Yeah.
And they all had guys who throw fire.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like
Yeah.
a guy here or there like Brad Hand. Like those you got.
Correct.
Brad Hand did not exist on the Houston Astros or the San Diego Padres for a reason.
Mhm.
Those guys are like, going by the wayside. They can can get it done in the regular season for you every so often.
Mhm.
But when it comes to crunch time and you're facing the best hitters in the league, you
Mhm.
need stuff that makes them think, that makes them go, ooh,
Yeah.
like, all right.
Yeah. And I think they went and got that, man.
Yeah.
Like this might be the best bullpen we've had since the early, like the run.
I mean, yeah, you sent me that that
It's
clip
loaded.
from someone saying on Twitter, analysts actually being positive about the Phillies bullpen.
Yeah. It truly, Regz, the worst arm in the bullpen might be a potential Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what I like about this bullpen. Like last year, he went out and got 3 veterans, right? He went out and got Knable. He went out and he got Familia, and he went out and he got Brad Hand. One of them made it through the whole season with the Phillies. One of them.
And not
this
the one
year,
we wanted.
No. I think if we had our choice, we would have taken like
Knable.
peak Familia. That's funny.
I hated Familia. I hated that
me
guy.
too. Me too. Yes, as a human being, yeah. But
I mean,
like,
yes, Familia 9 years ago, I would have taken.
Exactly. I think if we would have been able to, go back in time and rewind their careers, it probably would have been. I don't know. I could hear. I could hear Knable.
I agree with
Brad
you.
Hand
Like,
was awesome during his prime too.
yeah, I agree with you that I think they need a couple more Bilattis. Not a couple. They just need to make sure that they have that inning eater or a couple of them. Because I do not think they're going to push Wheeler or Nola or even Walker as much as they pushed them this year.
I think
they saw what happened. And these guys have to be ready in late October. They have to be ready. They have to be healthy. They have to not be exhausted. Like they've seen what has happened.
I think, and then we're going to jump to the next part of this. I think the interesting thing about last year's bullpen are the guys that made it to this year's bullpen. And I think that's like Nick Nelson and Andrew Bellotti. Certainly not the most talented guys in the bullpen, but 2 guys who they kind of like went dumpster diving on, and they turned into really solid arms for them. Yeah. And, I do believe a guy like Junior Marte or, someone like Eichel or Eric Ullman, Matt Strom's another guy. We haven't even talked about him.
Right.
Like he's going to be on the big league squad, and he's another guy who throws 96, 97.
Yeah. And another lefty.
So now you have, and it's nice to have all those lefties in this pen because of some of the lefties that they face throughout the season. Yep. Having to face Matt Olson a bunch of times is, you got to deal with him. There's Lindor. Like you got to deal with a bunch of dudes that, Nimmo. Like now you bring out 3 guys throwing 96 from the left side. Yep. 96 to 100. Like no lefties hitting that late in the game. Yeah. No one's hitting that. Yeah. So really great job. Really great job.
I mean,
by Dave Dombrowski.
Up and
I just
down.
feel like it's all I say.
Everyone is saying how much of a steal this was for a talent like Soto.
Yeah.
Like I can't wait to watch him. Can't wait.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen a lot of stuff about like the control, but we've been there. We've done that.
I mean, the Alvarado experiment has to be what gives them the confidence to get a guy like this. And again, someone else made a good point. It might have been in that MLB Network clip. He's like, look, he would go out and walk the bases loaded and then get out of it. But it's like he was the only arm in that Detroit bullpen. Yeah. So like he had to go out there and do everything. In this bullpen, he doesn't have to. And just just thinking about that might free somebody up to like, I just got to groove strikes. Like I don't have to paint everything. I don't have to be so like, we've heard this since we were kids. The worst thing you can do as a pitcher is try and be too precise. Yep. Don't pitch, just throw. Yep. Right? You hear that over and over again if you've ever tried to pitch at any level. the best
Mhm.
pitchers pitch the best when they go out there and they just throw. They're not just like,
Yep.
I have to hit this outside black or else this isn't going to be a good pitch.
Yeah.
That's when
Yeah.
you throw it right down the middle and it gets absolutely hosed.
Absolutely tremendous. Just tremendous. I mean, this is going to be fun, man.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it
a lot
is.
of fun. And I just before we jump to the next thing, I do anticipate another outfield bat now after trading Vierling.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see who that is.
So we're gonna dive into MLB Network is doing like the top 10 at every position. We thought it'd be cool to see if when you roll through the positions, if the Phillies will have a player land on those lists.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd take a little bit of time tonight, run through this. So Regz is going to give me the position, then we're going to just briefly touch on and see if, and then we might even make a guess on where that player would fall. So let's go ahead and get started, Regz, before we jump over to the birds. We thought this would be a fun thing to do.
I love doing this stuff with you because the Phillies made the World Series last year, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just making sure. As you go through these lists, we can keep asking that question about if their players are good enough compared to these lists. So the first list they came out with is top relievers. I'll probably just go through the top 5. Maybe if we're really interested in one of the categories, we can go through the whole.
Well,
top 10.
I think for this one, I would like to hear the top 10.
Okay, let's do that then.
Yeah.
All right.
Go for it.
From 10 to 1, I'm going to go bottom to top here.
Gotcha.
10, Ryan Helsley.
Okay.
Of the Cardinals. I'll just say the team in case anybody doesn't know. Number 9, Jason Adam of the Tampa Bay Rays. 8, Liam Hendricks of the White Sox. All prayers to Liam.
Yes, absolutely.
Andres Munoz of the Mariners. Ryan Presley, Astros.
Yeah.
Johan Duran, the Twins. Evan Phillips, the Dodgers. Devin Williams of the Brewers. Emmanuel Clase, maybe, of the Guardians.
Yeah, Guardians.
And Edwin Diaz at number 1.
Yeah.
The New York Mets.
So I'd have to double check this, but I'm almost positive that 9 of those guys are closers.
I've heard of 3 of these people.
Yeah.
By the way.
Well, some of the places they play are pretty obscure too. That's why. But if you look, I'd be curious, and we didn't look beforehand, but I'm pretty sure 9 of them are closers. And I think that's the problem. Now, is that the fan vote or is that officially?
This is
released?
official MLB Network's top 10.
Okay.
Yes, this is the official.
So there's an argument to be made for Sir Anthony.
Probably missed a little too much time.
Well, and it's also because like that save stat. Again, if we went through, and maybe we can revisit it next episode, but if we went through, I would love to see how many saves each of these guys have. Like, we just have such a weird value on that.
Yeah. And I think
that a guy who doesn't have those, it's hard to place them above the guy who does.
Especially with this, it's literally all created by a computer. They have that thing called the shredder.
Yeah.
And like,
do they take fan vote into account? Because they've been doing fan vote.
They might take it into account a little bit, but I think like they literally watch the screen that says the shredder.
Yeah.
Which takes into account all the stats. And
if you expand it to like 15,
there's got to be a Philly in there somewhere.
I think Sir Anthony probably sneaks in. Yeah. But top 10 because of the save stat, I get it. I personally, he's in my top 10. I think he's one of the nastiest pitchers in baseball.
Yeah.
And we saw that in the postseason. No one touched him.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one, when he came in the game, no one touched him.
And the only time he was touched is that rain game.
Yeah. 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 That was
against
it.
San Diego.
Like, he was unhittable the entire postseason, and the world got to see it. But so I didn't expect anybody to be in the top 10 for us. Next year maybe. All right.
I'm just going through my Twitter bookmarks because I had to bookmark. This one is not a player list, but it was just hilarious to me, and I want to go through it. The next 10 World Series predictions.
The next 10 World Series predictions.
Years. Yes.
Who tweeted this?
MLB tweeted it. MLB.com breaks out their crystal ball and predicts the next 10 World Series matchups.
Oh, fun. Okay.
I just find it hilarious. So here we go. 2023, they have the Dodgers beating the Blue Jays.
Oh, Dodgers are back. Okay.
2024, Mets beat the Orioles.
Oh, the Mets. Oh, the Orioles.
Yeah. 2025, the Giants beat the Yankees.
I wonder if Gabe's still there. Okay.
2026, the Mariners beat the Cardinals.
Okay, so that's the first American League team in the last 4 seasons.
2027, Yankees beat the Cubs.
2027. Okay.
2028, the Orioles, good for them, beat the Dodgers.
Congratulations, Baltimore.
2029, the Tigers beat the Braves. 2030, the Angels beat the Phillies.
2030.
The Phillies' first and only appearance on this list.
Oh, okay.
2031, the Red Sox beat the Brewers. And
The
2032,
Red Sox might not have an organization.
the Guardians beat the Reds. Beat the Reds.
Yeah. Well, the Reds are
literally
going
the worst team in baseball.
The Reds are probably going to have the top pick for
all
the
their
next 6
all their
seasons.
number one picks are finally going to be old enough to play baseball. I just
mean,
found it hilarious.
It is. I mean, it's funny.
We don't have to dwell on it. I love that stuff.
I do
So
too.
funny.
I'd love to know how they came to that.
Yeah,
but
right. Again,
Okay.
just thought
Yeah.
it'd be funny to.
It is.
just to
It's,
run through.
I think it's hilarious. Congratulations, Baltimore, for the World Series.
Yeah, right.
It's
All right.
fantastic. I know a lot of good Baltimore fans. So
All right. Right fielders.
right fielders. Well, yeah. Go ahead. Is this official?
Yes, this is the official.
All right. Can I just make a prediction?
Yes,
He's number 2.
you are incorrect. I'm going to
Okay.
go 1 to 10 now because I want to.
Okay.
I think it's better that way. Number 1, Aaron Judge, the New York Yankees. Number
That's
2,
fair.
Mookie Betts of the Dodgers. Number
okay.
3, Bryce Harper of the Phillies.
All right.
Number
I can deal with that.
4, Kyle Tucker of the Astros.
Wow. Okay.
Number 5, Ronald Acuna Jr. of the Braves. 6, George Springer, Blue Jays. 7, Starling Marte of the Mets. 8, Teoscar Hernandez of the Mariners. 9, Fernando Tatis Jr. of the Padres.
Interesting.
And
they have him in
10,
right field.
Hunter Renfroe of the Angels.
All right.
Okay. Regardless of where Bryce is, before you do your thing, I get it. Aaron Judge hit 60 whatever home runs. Could you be more recency biased? Like for this list, like Betts and Harper. Betts has won a World Series, and Harper just went to one. Has Aaron Judge made an AL championship yet?
Yes.
Okay, one.
He's made I believe 2.
Okay, did he win them?
No, they have not been to a World Series with him.
Fantastic.
I think it's because he's become the face of baseball.
Blah blah blah. This is supposed to be a list of the best players, not like the guy who sells the most video games.
Well, and here's the thing. We're going to find out because Aaron Judge had an absolute titanic season this year. And for the first time in a long time, he was healthy.
Yep.
He was a free agent at the end of the year, which tends to be
When you play the best.
case. Yeah. So we'll see how, and when you play the most.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. This coming year. I like Aaron Judge. I have no problem with the guy. I guess I'm fine with him in front of Bryce. Only because of this year. Like, I guess they're probably going off of recency bias. I think Mookie's better than both of them. So.
No, I completely agree with that. I would not.
You could make the argument for all three because there are times where I think Bryce Harper's the best hitter on the planet.
Yeah, literally as 2 years ago when he won the MVP.
Yeah, I'm also doing a little experiment here, and I'm gonna wait till the end to reveal what that experiment was. So,
fantastic.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
We going to center field now? Where are we going?
Well, this is another one before we get to center field. I again grabbed another one. MLB.com's top 10 lineups.
Oh,
This one we have to talk about. This one is ridiculous. Ridiculous. All right. Number 1, the Astros. Fine with that. They won the World Series. Fair enough.
Yep.
Number 2, Padres. Okay.
Yeah.
If Tatis comes back and is the guy again, Soto has a full year. All right. 3, the Blue
He's also a
Jays.
free agent.
Again,
They're loaded. They're loaded.
okay. Okay. 4, the Cardinals.
Yeah, that
They
blows my
have
mind.
2 hitters. 2.
That blows my mind. Yeah, that
I
blows my
like
mind.
both of them, but they are not the 4th best lineup. Number 5, the Braves.
Mm-hmm.
What in God's name puts the Braves at number 5?
Yeah.
Number 6, the Mets. Woefully low on this list.
Yeah.
Number 7, the Dodgers. Number 8, our Phillies. Again, how the Phillies aren't above. Again, I think the Mets, the Dodgers, and the Phillies should all be above the Cardinals and the Braves.
Okay.
Number 9, the Yankees. And number 10, the Guardians.
Yeah.
This list is a travesty.
Yeah, it's not great. So I think the Phillies are better than the Padres too offensively. I think the Padres lineup is extremely top heavy. I was not impressed with Cronenworth in the playoffs.
No, he did almost nothing
at all.
Yeah.
We basically shut down Kim, and I know it's a snapshot. Like, I get it. But yeah, I actually think they're better than the Padres. Yeah. Wow. Okay. I would have the Mets probably 2.
They should easily be in the Mets should easily be in the top 4.
Yeah. And I believe the Phillies are a top 5 offense.
I believe so.
And
like
some of that, Regz, I wonder is like, are they going off of like missing Bryce for part of the season?
Even so, how are we not better than the Cardinals?
Yeah. I mean, they're really leaning on those young kids. Wow. Well, and didn't they also get Wilson Contreras? They did get Wilson Contreras.
They did, yes.
Yeah.
But still.
Yeah. So, I mean, he makes a difference. But again, they have like 3-4 guys that.
He doesn't make a top 4 lineup in baseball difference.
No, he's one of the better hitting catchers in the game.
Yes, I agree. But come on.
I'm with you.
All right. Sorry. I had to rant about that. When I saw that, my eyeballs turned red.
I think it's a lot of like, it's just, I don't know. We talk about it all the time. It's like Philly hate. Like the Phillies, no matter they could reincarnate Babe Ruth and people would still say they're not as good as the Padres.
Yep,
so
yeah.
I don't know.
All right. On to center fielders. Again, this is the official list.
Okay. This is the official list.
Yes.
I'm going to assume Brandon Marsh isn't on there.
He is not.
Okay. That's fine.
All right. Mike Trout of the Angels is number 1.
Number 1.
Byron Buxton of the Twins, number 2.
What's high?
Julio Rodriguez of the Mariners, number 3. Your boy.
He should be above Buxton.
Your boy, Brandon Nimmo of the Mets, number 4.
Brandon Nimmo, dude.
Okay. Michael Harris of the Braves, number 5.
Oh, okay.
Brian Reynolds of the Pirates, number 6. Yeah, Cedric Mullins of the Orioles, number 7.
Good. That's good.
Luis Robert of the White Sox, number 8.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Yastrzemski of the Giants, number 9. Chas McCormick, number 10 of the Astros.
What?
I knew you'd like that one. I knew it. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. Bold prediction.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Brandon Marsh will be postseason number 6 on that list.
I like it.
Brandon Marsh is going to get every chance. All he's got to do is figure out how to hit lefties, and he's
another guy who hopefully will steal a lot more now that the bases are a little bit bigger.
Yeah, so I like that list. I have a really hard time.
I feel like
with who was number 2?
Buxton.
Yeah, I have a really hard time with who he's ahead of.
Yeah, Julio Rodriguez is really good.
Yeah. Wow, okay. I also think Brandon Nimmo should be in the top 10, but
yeah, top 10 is fine, but not 4th.
4's high. Okay.
I think Mullins is
Mullins is awesome. He's just super underrated because he's in Baltimore.
Yeah. Okay. So we don't have any other official lists out yet, but you wanted to go over these. Yep. These they have 2 groups that they put out, like who would be your top 10 right now, and they listed a bunch. So first up is third baseman, and I think you wanted to talk about something on this list because you saw this.
I do, and we don't have to go through all the names. My guess is that Austin Riley's on there.
He is.
Is Eduardo Escobar on there by chance?
No.
Okay. All right. So Eduardo Escobar's not on there. That makes me feel a little bit better. I'm wondering if there's. I'd have to look at that list to see if there's anybody else possibly from the Mets on it. But
Like, I'm just looking at this list. Like,
dude, I looked at the list. DJ LeMahieu and Gene Segura are on it, but Alec Boehm is not.
Josh Donaldson.
Like,
what is that?
so
guy
here's the
done?
thing, Regz. I'm not going to sit here and say that Alec Boehm's a top 10 third baseman. He's probably just off that list. Like, he's another season away, like he just had.
Yes.
From being on that list.
Yeah.
But the fact that MLB didn't put him on that list,
Right. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
There's at least
top
20
18.
guys.
Yeah, 18. Again,
there's 2 guys who don't even play the position on there.
well, apparently Gene's playing it for the Marlins.
But he hasn't played it in 3 years.
Very true. Also, very true.
Like, Alec Boehm had a month where he hit 500 for a month.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That's fine.
It's ridiculous, Regz.
Put us third in the division. Give us the 7th best lineup. Don't put any of our guys on these top 10 lists. Like,
I will tell you this: Austin Riley should be like top 3.
Feed it to me. Oh, for sure. I think it's Bregman, Riley, and then you could make an argument for someone else at that point.
I'd have to look.
Arenado. That's the top 3.
Arenado's got to be on there.
That's the top 3. Bregman, Riley, Arenado, Machado.
I'm just going to see. I have it here. Machado's definitely on there.
Yep.
Brian Hayes is probably on there.
Devers
is 100% on there. Chapman's on there. So, like, but when I'm like, Suarez is on there. So what I just named 8?
Yeah.
2, 3. Jose Ramirez 4. Hayes 5. Devers 6. Arenado 7. Chapman 8. Machado 9. So there's still room for one more. Donaldson will probably get on there.
Is he being
like,
good?
There's no reason. Yeah, I mean, he's probably good enough. They'll put him on there fanfare wise. Like, I'm just looking at the other names. There's probably, I mean, I don't know. My issue is that Boehm's not even on that list.
Right.
Like, again, I'm not going to sit here and claim he's a top 10 third baseman now.
Yeah.
But he certainly belongs on a list of guys in the mix of DJ LeMahieu. He DHs now.
Yeah, right.
And plays first base.
Played second base, yeah.
What is this? I don't know. So Boehmer won't get on that list, and that's okay. But he deserves to be at least mentioned.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Next one was first base.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. So Reese has to be on that list.
He is on this list. He is on the 18.
I think he makes it. I'd have to look and see.
Keep him out. I bet he's kept out for some obscure fielding stat.
I'm trying to find the list that you're looking at right now, because I want to know. I mean, I'm like scrolling all through MLB right now.
It's MLB Network who tweeted it.
Yeah, that's what I'm scrolling through. So I'm trying to think of who else would be on that.
So
let's
list, just run. I can run through them.
Go ahead, just name them real quickly.
Yeah. So Rizzo.
Oh, I have it.
All right.
Rizzo, maybe. Belt, no. Crone, maybe. Walker, yes. Freeman, yes.
Yep.
No way, Cronenworth. I'm sorry.
No.
Abreu, Bell, Arias,
Olsen,
yes. Goldschmidt, yes.
Yep.
Alonso, yes. Vlad Jr., yes. I think Reese gets on 9 or 10.
If you're just going on this list, I see how it could happen.
So I'm gonna write down Reese.
Okay.
For just for the pure, like,
yeah,
I'm writing him down as a guy that we think, and I'm gonna just put somewhere between 8 and 10. Okay.
All right.
All right. Cool. Next.
That was the last one.
Okay. Then I just want to talk through the other positions. I know they don't have all of them listed. I just wanted to. So we didn't talk about shortstop.
Nope.
Trey Turner will be on the list.
Yes, he will be.
And I'm gonna go ahead and say Turner will be
top
1 to 3.
Yeah.
1 to 3. Okay. All right. I'm just again, I'm doing something here on my own as we go because I want to just have a little fun then. All right, so Turner will be on it. Second base, I don't think Bryson.
No, I don't
will
think
be
so
on
either.
there.
Nope.
I really don't see him being on there.
Catcher.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a freaking no-brainer. He's gonna be number one.
Yeah. Left field.
Schwarber should be on it.
I think so also. Yes.
But I think he's probably gonna be somewhere from like 7 to 10.
Which is fascinating.
Yeah, I 7 to 10.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm thinking. Okay, I'm gonna say no there. Okay, and then
Starting
we
pitcher.
did center field, starting pitcher, and then what about DH? They'll probably do that.
Probably. Yeah.
So that'll be Nick.
Probably
I
not.
don't know. I don't think so.
Probably not.
If he does, he'll sneak on the back end, and I don't think he will.
Yeah.
Do Wheeler or Nola find a way on? I don't know.
Wheeler has to, right?
See, I would actually say Nola.
I mean, if they're going off last year more, then yes.
I don't think either one of them gets on, dude.
That's wild. Yeah.
I don't think either one of them gets on.
They might not. Because if you're thinking you got to take 5 from the NL and 5 from the AL, you don't have to, but if you're just thinking about it that way.
I don't know.
You might be right.
There's
you
so
might
many
be
good
right.
pitchers. There are so many good pitchers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, just think about the division itself.
No. Yeah.
Scherzer, Verlander,
Scherzer
kid from Miami.
I guess Scherzer has. Yeah.
You know, you probably get one Dodger starter on there.
Yeah. Urias probably.
You got Garrett Cole. You got Fromber.
Yeah. The Milwaukee guy.
I mean, you'd assume DeGrom. Yeah, one of the Milwaukee starters, Woodruff, or the guy that I've been after. Then I'm Corbin Birds.
Yeah.
I mean, there are just dudes everywhere that I just feel like Nola and Wheeler kind of get shoved to the side.
There's a good chance.
So here's what I did while we were going. I went with the already released list. And that's relief pitcher,
right
field,
center field,
and center field.
Yep.
The Mets have all 3.
Yeah.
The Braves have 2 of 3.
Yep.
And the Phillies have 1. What has not been released yet, we assume the Phillies will get 4 guys. I've got the Mets getting 5. They'll get Alonso, Lindor, McNeil, and I think both Verlander and Scherzer will end up on it. And then I have the Braves getting 6.
Riley, Olsen.
Well, I had the 2 that they got. Then Riley, Olsen. Somehow Ozzy Albies will get on there. It doesn't matter how bad he is.
Right.
They always put him on. And then the catcher they just got, Murphy. He'll be on there. He's a top 5 to 6 catcher. So I'll be interested to go back and look at that. So essentially, if those predictions are right, the Mets would have 5, 6, 7, 8 different guys on it. The Phillies would have 5, and the Braves would have 6.
Great. Can't wait.
So, but I also think those positions that the Phillies are off, they're just off, with the exception of Stott. Who, when you think about second baseman, maybe he does sneak on.
Yeah, I'm probably still going with no.
Yeah, me too. I think if Bomer doesn't get on, Stott doesn't get on.
Yeah.
But I think like those 2 guys, and I'll say this again, Brandon Marsh, all 3 of those dudes could be on next year.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They could be. And the Phillies could have a reliever on there next year, and they could have a starter. So that was fun.
I love those things. They're so much fun.
Yeah, it was a good time. I'm glad we did that. You know what else is fun?
What?
The NFL playoffs, buddy.
God, I'm so happy we just get to sit back and watch.
Oh, dude, this weekend's going to be great.
I'm so happy that we just get to sit back and watch.
It is going to be great. Magical, if you will.
There you
Regz.
go.
Magical.
Wow. Magical.
So we're just gonna do a quick injury update for the Eagles. Basically everybody today they had practice. Everybody was out there.
Yeah. Everybody wanted to be out there.
Everybody was out there. Lane was out there. Sweat was out there. I didn't see anything about Avante. They said Jalen did not throw today.
Yeah.
But he said he feels like he'll be 100% in 2 weeks, which is just enormous. Lane being out there and practicing is just
insane.
Great.
It's insane.
Because you feel like Regz, if he weren't even close to healthy,
why would you put him out there for any contact whatsoever?
Yeah. Well, there were he was just working with a trainer.
Okay. But still,
but even so, you could do that inside. Like you're trying to show that he's a go. That's what they're doing right now.
Which is insane.
Yeah. That dude is just a freak of nature.
Yeah. Just crazy.
So let me ask you this. Like clearly Lane and Jalen are the two that we're saying are the biggest gets to come back. Who would you say is next on that list? Because, and we can include CGJ in that. You can include Quinn in that. There's a bunch of names that we could kind of talk about. And I'll go first. I'll give you time because I've been thinking about this all day. I think, and I know there's probably another name to go to here, but I'm going to go with Josh Sweat. Like, getting him back with what this defensive line is already doing, the depth that it gives them is just incredible. Like they're just gonna be so fresh all game, and if they get out to leads and the other offenses have to go a certain way and throw the football, like I just look at a team like the Niners who they want to make it easy on their quarterback, and win with defense.
Yeah.
And if the Eagles find a way to score and score quick and score often, then they're going to pin their ears back and Purdy's not going to know what the hell hit him. Because Sweat being added to what's already there is a real challenge. And I just think, I think he's probably the most explosive of the group. I know what Reddick's done, but Sweat, man, he's just got a motor that is unbelievable, and he makes such a difference with his bend. So he's the guy that I'm hoping is back.
Yeah, I'm taking CGJ off because he played last week, so I'm considering him kind of in. I think it's Avante. Seeing how that dude was flying around the field against the Cowboys, and for the very reason that you sort of just said, if they do get up by a little bit and teams do have to throw, we've seen teams be able to do that if, when Avante's not out there. I get it that they're lining Gardner Johnson up in the slot, and that is helpful.
Yeah.
And it's certainly better than Scott. But having Avante out there looking like he looked in the Cowboy game, like, I don't know how you beat us. If that dude's flying around like that. And CGJ is in the back ball hawking like he does.
How about it?
I just think that it's the playoffs. You have to get stops. You just have to.
Yeah.
And if Lane and Jalen are healthy, this offense is going to do what it does.
Oh, for sure.
But the defense has to be able to get stops on top of that. And I just think with Avante out there and CGJ back, it's like, man, that'd be great. Man, it would just feel good to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
With that part of the defense. To not be like, uh-oh, if our front four don't get there in 4 seconds, like somebody's open somewhere.
Yeah.
So that would be my pick.
I think the other thing about it is when you consider the teams that you're potentially playing and the guys who play in the slot, and the creativity that some of these coaches will scheme up to face us if he's not available. Like we already know CeeDee Lamb's going to play the slot.
Yep.
We know that. That's the way they schemed us up. But they could put the Bucks could put Mike Evans in the slot.
Yeah, right.
Minnesota could put Justin Jefferson in the slot.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Thielen could kill us out of the slot. DK Metcalf could end up in the slot. Like, there's a lot of, Brandon Ayuk. You could put Christian McCaffrey out there.
Yeah.
Like, teams could just scheme. Now again, when I look at Minnesota and San Francisco, we don't have to worry about them until the NFC title game, if that should be the case. So, and if that is the case, Avante would be back if he's not playing in the division round.
Right.
So that's okay. And I still believe that if he's not ready, CGJ is going to play the slot like he did, and Reed will be back at safety. So yeah, I think those are fair. I think those are really fair thoughts as we kind of like buckle in for the playoffs. So let's wait and see on, what the next couple weeks bring in terms of injury reports. I will be following like a hawk on Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
We know he's playing.
Right.
It's just going to be how he feels. And, we'll know right away because they're either going to run the football or they're not. And that'll tell us the whole story.
Yep.
So that leads us to our playoff predictions, my friend.
Here we go.
We did this in baseball. We had a blast with it. We ended up, I was trying to find that and we were not close at all. Like not even a little. We did have the ALCS correct.
Okay.
We had Atlanta beating the Phillies. We had the Dodgers beating the Mets.
Oh, that's right.
And then we had the Dodgers winning it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did not do well.
We were way off.
Yeah. So we'll see how this goes. All right. You want to start in the AFC or the NFC?
AFC.
All right. Miami and Buffalo.
Buffalo.
Yeah, I think that's just going to be so emotional.
Yeah, Tua's not playing either.
And yeah, and Miami doesn't want that smoke in that weather with, I'm telling you, DeMar Hamlin's going to be there.
Yeah.
Like he's going to walk the team out. It's going to be
crazy.
It's going to be a thing.
Can you believe they ran the opening touchdown back for a touchdown?
Well, he had two. Hines had two.
I know, but I mean the first kick, like, come on.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Chargers, Jacksonville.
It
Jacksonville.
It should be Chargers. But Mike Williams is hurt.
Because
the dumb coach played him in a useless game. Dumb. Yeah.
I believe this is a Doug Peterson win.
I'm fine with that. I'm not super confident in the Chargers.
I just feel like Dougie Doug is going to get it done.
Dougie P.
Dougie Doug. Baltimore and Cincy.
Cincy, Lamar's not playing.
Yeah. Well, and Joe Burrow's the freaking GOAT.
And Baltimore literally just played there and lost.
Yeah, and then we don't know what they're going to do for these I don't know what happens with Buffalo and Cincinnati in that game. Have they decided?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Because isn't Cincy technically higher ranked? I don't know how that works.
Because of Buffalo and having that no contest game, I think.
Here's the playoffs. Yeah, Buffalo is higher. So as of now, I guess we treat it as Buffalo would be the home team. Okay, and KC would play Jacksonville. So let's start there. KC and Jacksonville.
KC.
Yeah, I think that's the one.
Yeah.
Like that'll be the one.
Yeah.
Andy and Doug. That'd be cool though.
Hey, listen. 2 former Eagles.
Buffalo and Cincy.
I think this is where it really matters where it is.
Yeah.
I get it that Cincy kind of had that run last year, but that field goal kicker has not been the same guy this year.
Pearson. Mm-hmm. I got to be honest. I'll tell you what I think real quickly. I do think that Cincinnati would win that game on a neutral site.
Yeah.
I don't know about at Buffalo, and I still think emotion is emotion.
I think if it's at Buffalo, I'm taking the Bills.
Yeah. So let's do this. I think we can give ourselves a little bit of grace here.
Yeah, why not?
And say we'll take Buffalo, and then we'll revisit it
when we hear where it is.
If they decide that they're playing it at a different site.
That's fair.
Okay.
We'll
All
have
right.
we'll have time
So-
for that, so that's fine.
Yeah. Do you want to pick the AFC Championship game and then go all the way through the NFC?
Yep.
KC and Buffalo.
KC.
We're going chalk.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Mahomes is playing really well right now. Really well.
I just think like I don't think there's a good taste in his mouth from last year.
Yeah. Yeah, he's playing really well. All right, let's visit the NFC.
All right.
Seattle, San Francisco.
San Francisco.
Yeah, I don't think that's even a question.
Yeah.
Dallas, Tampa Bay at Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah, dude, I actually think that's going to be a blowout.
Fuck the Cowboys.
I think the Cowboys are in their heads right now. I mean, Micah Parsons will not stop tweeting.
Can't wait for it.
Oh, we're going to be intolerable.
I can't wait for it.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a blow. I think Brady blows their doors off.
Oh, I can't wait.
New York, Minnesota.
Minnesota.
I got New York.
See, I kind of almost would rather play Minnesota.
Well, we wouldn't.
I know, but I'm
Brady.
just thinking like in general, like if they kept winning, like who would I want to see in the NFC Championship game? Weirdly, I don't want it to be the Giants.
Well, we would have to play the Giants in the divisional round.
Oh, okay. I hear what you're saying.
And honestly, I don't know that I'd want to play the Giants either. I'm okay picking Minnesota. What time is that game?
Oh, geez.
4:30, not prime time.
Okay. Yeah,
We'll go
Minnesota.
We'll go Minnesota. We'll go Minnesota.
I think Minnesota should win the game.
Yeah.
I won't be shocked if the Giants pull this out of their butt.
And then we'll hear Cousins like the meltdowns.
Yeah, exactly.
That's Sunday afternoon. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
The 1:00 game's gonna be brutal.
Which one's that? Seattle, San Francisco?
No, that's Miami and Buffalo.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be terrible.
Yeah. And then Baltimore and Cincinnati are
That one's going to be one's going to be terrible too.
Yeah, it's just going to be that middle game's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I really do think the Giants are going to fight.
Yeah.
All right. So San Francisco, Minnesota. It would be at San Francisco.
San Francisco.
Yeah, I think that defense would eat Cousins alive.
Yeah.
And then Philly, Tampa Bay in Philly. Brady comes to Philly.
Eagles. Even though Brady coming scares the shit out of me.
Well, I get that. I do believe, though, that this Eagles team is far more complete than what they dealt with last year. And I think there's a bad taste in the Eagles' mouth about that game.
Yes, and I think Tampa Bay's defense is worse than last year. Mm-hmm. The Eagles' offense is better.
And the Eagles' defense is better.
And I think the Eagles' defense is better. And I think the fact that their pass rush has been so good, Brady is just going to have to dink and dunk his way down the field.
Right.
I don't think he will do. He'll hit every running back out of the flat. He'll dink and dunk his way down. But I just think that team is so different when Evans and Godwin are deep threats.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Gannon's whole thing. You will not get over the top of us.
Yeah, but Brady will take those intermediate routes.
Absolutely.
All day
He'll
long.
do it all day.
But it will eliminate our pass rush.
But I just think the pass rush will get home enough.
Well, Brady doesn't love pressure directly at him.
Right.
And with our front, that pocket is not going to be mobile.
And I don't think they'll be able to run the ball well.
No, they can't run the ball.
Yeah.
They haven't been able to run the ball all year. Like, I have Fournette. They don't run the ball. It is the Brady show.
Yeah.
So I agree. I think Philly wins that game. All right. Then we have the NFC title game in Philadelphia. Brock Purdy would be playing in quite an environment, cold weather. I don't see the Eagles losing if they get to the NFC title game. I
agree. I'm, of course, scared of that defense. Hopefully Lane comes out of the Tampa game healthy still.
Mm-hmm.
Because that game's going to be won and lost on the offense and defensive line.
Mm-hmm. And listen, Lane against Bosa.
Yeah.
If it's not Lane, Jalen's gonna be running for his life all night. Because if we think Micah is tough,
yeah,
Bose is a whole nother layer.
Yeah,
that dude's out of control.
Yeah.
All right, so then we go to Arizona. Andy Reid and the Birds. The storyline, I'm going to tell you, if the NFL is fixed, this is the game.
This is what's going to happen. Yep.
This is the game.
Yep.
Andy and the Birds.
Yeah.
This is the one. Regz, do the Eagles have enough to beat Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs?
So I think they do, yes. I'm afraid of Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs' experience in these games.
Mm-hmm.
There are still a few holdovers from our Super Bowl, but there's not a ton of them. Obviously on the offensive line is where most of them still, are around. Mm-hmm. But like almost top to bottom on the other side, there's really not a bunch. There might be a handful.
Yeah.
I think it would be a very good game. My heart wants to say Eagles, and my brain is telling me the Chiefs.
Yeah, I know.
I think because Travis Kelce is so good. Like we saw what a good tight end can do. Again, I know it's different coordinator and all that stuff, but like we said, the Eagles linebackers haven't been playing their best.
Mm-hmm.
And oh god. Oh, I had to sneeze. Thank you.
That was really well done by you.
Whew. I'm so happy I tapped it correctly.
Yeah, it was really well done.
Thank you. I just think that this Eagles team can be beat in the middle. And just like, God, Kelce is so good. Like he could literally have 160 yards on us.
Well, I want to kind of rewind for a second because you're talking about him, but we didn't talk about George Kittle.
I know. I'm not happy about that.
I'm just making the statement. I think the difference is the guy throwing to him.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Here's the other thing that we should mention. Kyle Shanahan's a hell of a coach.
Yeah.
In San Francisco, and he'll scheme you up and down. So that San Francisco game won't be as easy as we think.
No,
I believe that the Eagles are just far too talented, especially if they get a lead. Purdy's just not. He's not that guy. Now let me just talk about this because I agree. I put Kansas City down. Look, we're a Philly podcast, but I think we're realistic enough to know that quarterbacks do win you championships. And while Jalen Hurts has come a long freaking way, Patrick Mahomes is still Patrick Mahomes.
He's the top of the list.
Yeah. And I think this would be a really interesting send-off for Big Red too. Like, I wonder if he would retire if he beat his former team in a Super Bowl.
Maybe.
And it would be a really cool matchup if the Kelce brothers played each other with the podcast being the way that it is. Yeah. I just think that'd be so cool. But before we, end this conversation, I was looking at the quarterbacks in the NFC. If you had to rank them, how would you take Hurts out of it?
Okay.
Right. But the quarterbacks the Eagles would have to face, rank them for me.
Brady, number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Cousins 2.
Okay.
Dak 3.
Okay.
Purdy 4.
Okay.
Geno 5.
Okay.
Jones 6.
Okay.
Who am I missing?
No, you got them all.
All right.
So I wrote him down just a moment ago. I had Brady, Dak, Kirk, and then I had Jones, Purdy, Geno. And my point being, and I think it goes the same for you, 2 of the top 3 on your list and my top 2, we can only see one.
Yeah.
Like one of them's losing on Monday night.
Yep.
That's a huge break for the Eagles. Like that's a huge break for the Eagles.
Yeah.
they only have to deal with one, and potentially they might not have to deal with either one of them until the NFC Championship game if one of those other two teams pulls an upset.
Right.
You know, the most ideal would be Seattle beating San Francisco.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That would be just awesome because facing a Seattle team would be
ideal.
You know, ideal. The path would become much easier. But yeah, I thought about that the other day. I was like, oh my gosh, the top two guys, they don't have to worry about.
Yeah.
Every quarterback in the AFC when healthy.
Yeah.
Like if Lamar gets back, if Tua gets back, I mean, Tua is probably last on that list, but I mean, it's really hard to separate the rest out.
No, yeah.
Like Mahomes, Allen,
yeah,
Burrow,
right,
Lamar,
yeah, Herbert,
Lawrence. Like it's just like they're not separated by, and then probably somewhere down there is Tua.
Yeah,
like, but yeah, that's like the AFC's a gauntlet, and the Eagles don't have to worry about. They have to worry about one of them. So, whew, baby. We'll see. This weekend's going to be nice, though, buddy.
It is going to be nice to just kind of sit back, relax, see what's going to happen, and then be able to to talk about a matchup next week. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. You know, Regz, usually I come up with a Phixated during the show, and I don't know that I really have one. I think if I had to, I would probably go back to what we were talking about with the Phillies and sort of the disrespect that I feel like they get. And I mean, we sometimes talk about this, like
sometimes.
I don't know that I don't know that we need to spend a whole lot of time here, but like this sort of speaks volumes to what we mean when we talk about it. Like the Alec Boehm thing is just going to eat at me for months, and I hope it eats at him too. I hope he saw that. Like I hope someone sent him that.
That lineup one for me is just ridiculous.
Yeah, like I don't know. There's part of me that can get by that, just because I think people just go with names.
Yeah,
and the Phillies don't have like all that name power that San Diego has. Like they have name power. They have Harper, they have Real Muto.
Yeah,
they have Schwarber, and they have Castellanos.
Turner.
You know, when you look at the Padres, there's just name after name after name. It's like the first six dudes are names.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think there's a little bit of that name power there. Like people don't know the back part of that Phillies lineup the same way. Or they don't think you're as good. What bothers me is that MLB Network, as the official network of the sport, left off a guy who literally hit 500 for a month and improved so much over the course of the season, and put two guys who don't play the position on it.
Yeah.
Like I can't. That blows my mind. Regz, it blows my mind. So I don't know. I here I am, angry Azzy, bitter about being a fan of a city that no one respects. I mean, somehow the Eagles will end up being 3-point underdogs against, you know, the Seahawks at home. Like that's, you know, Jalen won't get any MVP votes.
Nope.
You know, I am bitter. This is just going to be a bitter rant, I think. I'm bitter that Landon Dickerson wasn't an All-Pro.
Yeah.
Like, how? Like, Regz, I'm going to find you a quick stat that I saw the other day about Landon Dickerson that I just cannot. I'm not over the fact that he is first in run block win rate at 80% among all guards in the NFL. Second in pass block win rate at 97%.
How does that not make you an All-Pro if you're first and second?
He's a second-year player.
Yeah.
And he's not an All-Pro.
Yeah, that's wild.
It's just, I don't know, man. I just constantly wonder why Philly sports gets shit on every year.
They just don't like us.
We don't care.
Nope, we don't. Put us third in the division. Great. Let my guys be pissed off.
Talk about how we should be worried about the Eagles because Riggs, it's almost like the first 15 weeks didn't matter.
Yeah, right.
Like the way that people are talking about them, it's like, oh, the first 15 weeks didn't matter. The only weeks that mattered were the weeks where the starting quarterback didn't play.
Yeah.
And the Hall of Fame right tackle didn't play. And they were missing the interceptions leader in the NFL.
And one of the best slot corners.
And one of the best slot corners in the NFL. Like, those 3 weeks mattered.
Yeah. Yep.
Talk about recency bias. Right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, I love it.
I'm done being bitter.
It's good stuff.
Until tomorrow. Till tomorrow.
Perfect.
But guys, we appreciate you listening to us as always. We do hope that you guys have a relaxing weekend watching football that really doesn't matter a whole lot to us.
Enjoy it.
There's really only a few games that mean anything. And we will have a pretty good idea of where we stand at about 8:00 on Saturday evening, because at that point we'll know Seattle and San Francisco. We'll have an idea of, okay, well, San Francisco moved on. If Seattle wins, we're locked.
Wild.
That's who we're playing.
Yep.
If Seattle wins, we are locked. If not, then that Sunday night game becomes the next one. If the Giants win, we're locked into them.
Mm-hmm.
If both of those games go chalk, then Monday night matters a whole lot, right?
Yeah, right.
So if both of the 4:30 games on Saturday and Sunday go chalk, then Monday night we'll be buckled in.
Can't wait.
If not, the only thing we care about on Monday night is Cowboys losing.
That's right. Well, I still care about that no matter what.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys, we appreciate you listening. On Thursday night, we will be back with you. So you'll get your Phixated on Friday with our official Eagles preview. We will only be Eagles on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
We will only be Eagles. We're hoping to have a guest one way or the other, depending on who it could be, but we're hoping to get somebody on the show with us to talk a little bit about the playoff game and help us to make some predictions. So we'll hope to have some news on that early in the week for all of you, so that you can buckle in and enjoy that ride on Friday morning leading into playoff or division round weekend. But we appreciate you listening. Make sure you click subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube. You can click subscribe and certainly leave a comment or two if you feel the need to. You can follow us on any of your podcast platforms: Amazon, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to follow us and rate us. And then you can follow the platform itself on Instagram at B&B Podcast, and the same handle on Twitter. Follow at the Phixated Pod on Twitter, at the Mic Drop 5, and at Big Regz with a Z for Regz, and then at the Phixated fan page on Facebook. Make sure you click the merchandise link in the description as well. We are going to probably in February have those koozies up and running for you guys. So, Regz, question for you.
Yeah.
I just went through the Twitter stuff before we sign off for good. Are we taking the same approach through the football playoffs that we took through baseball players? Are we not going to tweet from the account?
Yes.
Okay. So don't expect
I think we
any
have to.
tweets.
With how the Phillies went, I think we have to.
Until the Eagles, knock on wood, lose in the playoffs. We hope that doesn't happen.
But
we will not tweet from the Phixated account.
But we will be on after every Eagles game.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we will have a recap show after every Eagles playoff game. That is for sure. Win or lose.
That's right.
Happy or angry. But I anticipate happiness.
So do I.
Got good vibes about that.
That's right.
All right, everybody. We hope that you enjoyed the episode, and we hope to talk with you soon on social media and here on the show. We appreciate you all listening. We love you. Take care. Have a great week. And I mean, we'll say it. It don't matter, but Go Birds.
Damn straight. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate you. And as always, go Birds.
Oh, my God. Deep to right field. Way up there and way out of here.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.